So we've gotten to the point where enough has actually happened in award season to the point where we can make 2017 Oscar winners predictions. I made my nomination predictions about a month ago, and a lot has happened since then. We've had the Golden Globes, we've had the SAGs, and most importantly, we've had the actual Oscar nominations themselves. Even the BAFTA nominations help a lot in terms of dictating who's going to win this year's Academy Awards. And I have to say, a lot of the races are tight. This was very difficult to do. A lot of these choices were very difficult to make, whether they came down to between two performances or like the entirety of the five choices. A lot of these were very difficult to make. For those of you that don't know, I'm predicting supporting actress, supporting actor, leading actress, leading actor, director, and picture, simply because that's where I believe I can present my points best to you guys. I would do screenplay, but I don't have as many points. I'll kind of give it to you now. I predict Fences for adapted screenplay and Manchester by the Sea for original screenplay, simply for the facts that I think both of those movies heavily bank on screenplay a lot more than really anything else. I think the screenplay is sort of what makes those two movies, and so that's why I was predicting those two films to win those awards. But those other nominations I just listed off to you are the ones I'm really focusing on for this video. I'm not going to talk about costume design or production design or makeup and hairstyling or sound editing, because as much as I love to call myself a movie fan, I don't know as much about those things as I'd like to, but I work with what I've got. So these are my 2017 Oscar winners predictions, and let's get right into it with Best Supporting Actress. Now, I said before that these categories are very hard to choose. Not all of them. Not this one, particularly, because Viola Davis, if I had to consider anything nominated this year a lock, it would be this one. Not only does the diversity issue come into play, but she's absolutely deserving of this award, as well as just like, it's going to happen. There is nothing she hasn't won. There is nothing she's not going to win. She's gonna win the BAFTA. She's sweeping this, and there's always that one. Sometimes even two. There are always those performances that will consistently take every single fucking award. Every year, it happens. Leonardo DiCaprio and Brie Larson did it last year. Jared Leto did it a couple years ago. Same with Matthew McConaughey. It always happens. And there will always be that one performance or that one movie or that one whatever the hell. This year is Viola Davis. She's very deserving of it. She steals the scene every single time she appears on screen, which is very difficult to do considering Denzel Washington is fantastic in Fences. I've said it before, I didn't love Fences. I liked it. I respected it. It did a great job of what it needed to do. I don't think it was absolutely fantastic, but there is no denying Viola Davis's excellence in this movie. And when you look at who she's up against, it really doesn't contest. If there was one that I would have to put, one or two that I'd have to put against her, it would either be Naomi Harris for Moonlight or Michelle Williams for Manchester by the Sea. Michelle Williams, despite not being in very much of Manchester by the Sea, brings that one powerhouse scene. You all know what I'm talking about. And that's a lot of times for supporting actress specifically, it doesn't take a lot of the movie to be in to actually get that award. Take Anne Hathaway for Les Mis, or somebody, even like Lupita Nyong'o for 12 Years a Slave, who really isn't in all that much of the movie. So, you don't always have to be in that much. So if I had to put a second place to win, it would be her, but it'd be, pretty far down. And then Naomi Harris, I think, did a great job. The fact that she filmed her role in 3 days is pretty fucking impressive. And in terms of the other two, Nicole Kidman is good. I didn't notice anything outside of her realm that she did. It's kind of just like Nicole Kidman doing more acting. So, good on her. She did a great job. And Octavia Spencer, I don't know how many of you watched my Hidden Figures review. I kind of talked about this. She's good. She's not great, actually. I even think when they were doing the SAG Awards last night and they were showing all the clips, hers was kind of bland in retrospect with the other ones, but she's very good, but I don't think anyone really stands a chance against Viola Davis for this category. I think she really is the landslide frontrunner right now. I haven't seen anyone predict otherwise, so Viola Davis is my prediction for Best Supporting Actress. So, Best Supporting Actor, this is where things get very interesting for me. This is probably my favorite category. I really like predicting this category because it's always tight, and there always seems to be a surprise somehow. Not always. Jared Leto. Not always. But, Mark Rylance swooped in there and won when nobody really expected that to happen last year. I think he won the BAFTA, but, the BAFTAs they're important, but, they're not, that important. What the fuck is I, Daniel Blake? I'm sure it's great, but it's not at the Oscars. So, it's not necessarily the most reliable source for getting Oscar, odds or prediction news or whatever. It's not the best, most reliable source. So I really battled with myself on this category, and I know Mahershala Ali is the strong frontrunner for this. I picked an unorthodox choice, and I want you guys to stay with me, okay? I want you to stay with me while I explain my choice, because I have a good reasoning, and I just want you to hear me out. My prediction is Lucas Hedges from Manchester by the Sea. Okay, now that I've got you, now that you're all like, what the fuck is he talking about? Give me a second. There are two kinds of supporting actors, or just supporting performances overall, that are nominated at the Academy Awards. The first are those that steal the show, which is, I think, a lot of what really comes to mind when you think of a best supporting performance. This year, that's Viola Davis for Fences. Or even looking at previous years, that's J.K. Simmons in Whiplash. And those performances do quite well most of the time, but you don't always notice them coming out on top. The one that I've noticed that consistently likes to come out on top is the second type of supporting performance, which is that performance of which that not only elevates but provides a dynamic between the leading performance and the supporting performance. And that consistently will win. Yes, there are times, there are exceptions to that rule. But just kind of think about it. Mark Rylance does that dynamic with Tom Hanks. Jared Leto does that dynamic with Matthew McConaughey in Dallas Buyers Club. That's why Michael Fassbender didn't win for 12 Years a Slave. Despite the fact that I believe Michael Fassbender showed a better performance and because he is that scene-stealing performance. That is his supporting actor performance. That's what Michael Fassbender does in 12 Years a Slave. As much as I love Chiwetel Ejiofor in that movie, Michael Fassbender steals the show every single time he's on screen. And then, when you're looking at that, Jared Leto and Matthew McConaughey provide this dynamic to each other. Matthew McConaughey is an asshole who's scrunched up and is like, I gotta live, everything's about me. And Jared Leto is the other side of that, look at everything around you. Look at all of these beautiful things, because they're things to live for, despite the fact that they both have AIDS. So coming back to this year, when you look at Lucas Hedges and you look at Casey Affleck provides that life is depressing, life sucks, everything is sort of grim. And I know that's obviously not the broad spectrum. I'm minimizing it into dumb terms just to, make it easier to understand. Then you look at Lucas Hedges, who is the other side of the spectrum. Similar to Jared Leto. He is the, hey, there are things to be happy about. There are things to live for. He's got that monologue, I'm in a band, I have 2 girlfriends, all my friends are here, There are things to experience that aren't so bad. And Lucas Hedges, also commonly provides comic relief in the film, which makes Manchester by the Sea watchable. Because without Lucas Hedges' character, that would be more difficult than it is now to sit through, because it is a relatively depressing film, and it's not easy to sit through the entirety of it. And Lucas Hedges provides that perfect dynamic, in my opinion, between supporting performance and leading performance. I like all of the other actors in this category. I like all of their performances. Mahershala Ali does a great job. I really do. I really believe that. He leaves a lasting impact, but I don't think I was as wowed by his performance as everybody else. I like him a lot, but when I walked out of Moonlight, I pointed to a lot more performances before I pointed to his. I think I would point to all of those actors that play Chiron and then Naomi Harris before I'd start talking about Mahershala. And I actually like him a lot. He's great in House of Cards. I like him as an actor a lot. He showed up in Hidden Figures, which I didn't know had happened. I just don't know if I would, not only as my win, put him in. I don't see him taking the Oscar. Jeff Bridges, I think, is sort of outdone in his own movie. I think Ben Foster is actually better than him. As much as I not only love Hell or High Water, Jeff Bridges is one of my favorite actors. Coming out of that movie, I felt like Ben Foster did a better job in terms of just getting into his character and doing something different than he's done before. Dev Patel, I like him. I like his. I mean his performance. I actually really like Dev Patel. He's good. He's not excellent. He's not an Oscar-winning performance. I hate to say it. And Michael Shannon, he's the guy who I actually did predict this. He's the guy that appears at the last second, and he's not going to win because there are 2 instances already where someone else from his movie is getting attention. Aaron Taylor Johnson. I think he got a BAFTA nomination and he won the Golden Globe. I don't think that'll happen for Michael Shannon. I hate to say it, but so. Lucas Hedges is my prediction for supporting actor. I know it's a little out there. I know it's a little wacky, but I hope that my explanation sort of might have even brought you on board with it. Leading actress, I battled with myself a little bit on this one too. The nominations were a little interesting for this. I think Amy Adams missing out was kind of interesting, and Ruth Negga being thrown in there, and Meryl Streep being thrown in there. But overall, I picked Emma Stone for La La Land, and she is another one who has consistently won, and I do think her SAG Award win last night very much helps her in terms of taking the top. Before the SAGs, actually, I would have considered Natalie Portman to have a very fair shot against Emma Stone. And then I started thinking a little bit more about Jackie and like the movie itself and her performance. I liked the movie. I did. I thought it was actually an interesting style of biopic that I don't know how often we've seen before. It was a very interesting take on the genre. But the more I think about Jackie, I never really saw Jackie Kennedy. I always sort of saw Natalie Portman playing Jackie Kennedy. And I get that Jackie Kennedy is a very hard role to delve into. And, you know, in terms of her looks and her dialect, Natalie Portman did a very good job in melding into that. I don't know if emotionally and just overall as a character, if Natalie Portman, for me, ever completely sunk in to Jackie Kennedy as a character. That's my take on it. If anyone, in my opinion, had a shot at getting to Emma Stone, it was her. But the more I think about it, the more of a less shot I think she has. Isabelle Huppert, I haven't seen Elle, so I can't say much. The fact that she missed a SAG nomination and the fact that she hasn't shown up anywhere really but the Golden Globes in terms of a win, for me, is a little bit of a tell that I don't think she will win this Oscar. I think her winning a Golden Globe was very interesting, and I do think it puts her in contention, but in terms of predicting an actual winner, I would not say her. Ruth Negga is sort of similar to Michael Shannon, who kind of popped up, though not many people predicted it. I did predict it, but, you know, having looked at her performance in comparison, it doesn't really compare to the other performances, unfortunately. I liked her in Loving, but it didn't compare for me. And Meryl Streep, I bucked up and I watched Florence Foster Jenkins, even though I didn't want to. And, you know, she's good. She is. She's very good at the character she plays. There aren't very many people that could play that character. But the movie, itself is a little shaky, in my opinion, and I think Hugh Grant actually does kind of a better job in that movie than she does. I like her in it. I think even an Oscar nomination for her, in my eyes, is a little shaky. I would definitely see Hugh Grant being put in there before I would see Meryl Streep being put in there. Again, I liked her in it, but, you know, she just didn't stand out to me. It's the same thing with Ruth Negga, you know. Neither of those two performances stood out to me. When I watched Emma Stone in La La Land, I noticed that performance. I said, okay, that is a great performance. So, I'm predicting Emma Stone for La La Land. I wouldn't be shocked if either Natalie Portman or Isabelle Huppert would, come up and take that mantle, but I think from where we stand right now, especially with the amount of attention that La La Land got with the nominations, I think La La Land is in a very good spot, and I'll get to that in a little bit. Leading actor, I'm cheating a little bit. I'm cheating a little bit because I don't know. This is a battle between Casey Affleck and Denzel Washington. Loved Ryan Gosling in La La Land. Not gonna happen. And the fact that I'm doing this off a script right now and can't remember the other two nominees is kind of a telling. Oh, Viggo Mortensen for Captain Fantastic, he's great. Not gonna win the Oscar. He's one of those hell yeah, he got nominated. Alright. have him at the awards. He's not going to win. As much as I loved Captain Fantastic, that's just not going to happen. So, sorry, but yeah, no, that's not happening. And Andrew Garfield for Hacksaw Ridge. I haven't seen Hacksaw Ridge, so I can't really talk, but, you know, you have to admit and you have to respect the fact that the lean right now is very heavily towards those two other actors, and I do personally believe that if Casey Affleck had taken the SAG last night, Casey Affleck would be my predicted winner. But Denzel took it. There are so many facts I had to look at when trying to make this prediction. In terms of Casey Affleck, he won the Globe. He's got a lot of support right now. In terms of Denzel Washington, he was not nominated for a BAFTA, which I think is very interesting, but he won the SAG, and leading actor at the SAG consistently for the last, I think that's 15 years, has won the Oscar. There are so many contradictory facts, and I was taken aback completely by both of their performances. I just don't know. My official prediction is either Casey Affleck or Denzel Washington. I think this one is up in the air. The BAFTAs don't help because Denzel's not nominated, so if I had to lean, I'd lean towards Casey Affleck, but then you have the diversity problem in the Academy, which makes you think if they can give it to an African American for leading actor, they'll do it. But he's also won twice already, and they're obviously not going completely with diversity because Meryl Streep was nominated instead of Taraji P. Henson, and there are so many things that make this category, for me, practically impossible to predict. So I think this category is relatively up in the air. I think either one of them could take it, and I just don't think we're going to know until Oscar day. I'm cheating a little bit, I know, I'm sorry, but like, that's just how it is for me. I don't see a clear winner in this category. So, moving swiftly to director and picture, I'm picking La La Land for both. And here's the thing. The common misconception at the moment is that the Academy is just looking for diversity. That's not true. I believe that they have shown diversity. I think you have 3 African American supporting actress nominations. You have 1 for supporting actor. You have 1 for leading actress. 1, right? 1. Yeah, 1 for leading actress. 1 for leading actor. And they've nominated Fences and Moonlight and Hidden Figures, all for Best Picture. And I think that at this point they've done their job in awarding diversity and showing that they're a diverse group. I have my own opinions on last year and the year before's diversity topics. I'm not going to get into that. Maybe in another video I would talk about my view on that. Not sure. Don't want to get political. But they've done their job showing they're diverse. And I think the misconception right now is that they're just looking for diversity. And I respect Moonlight. I really do. I loved it. It's an excellent film. It is one of, not my favorites, but it is one of the best of 2016, without a doubt. Fences was very well done. Hidden Figures was very well done. But the Academy is also looking for a breath of fresh air. People are getting a little tired of the art house films winning all the time. And it's not to say La La Land isn't an art house film. But La La Land is certainly a lot more mainstream than movies that have previously won. Spotlight and Birdman are both movies that not that many people saw. La La Land has worked its way completely into the mainstream media and into film and just the way people are looking at the Academy. When the average person goes through the Best Picture nominees, the one they would probably point to, as I know what that is La La Land. If the Academy is presented with the opportunity to give a romantic comedy musical, which is a throwback to movies from the 50s, and even before then, and is a fun, well-written, and amazingly directed film, I'll get back to that in a second, they are going to do it. And they have been presented with that opportunity with La La Land. And the fact that this thing has tied with the all-time amount of nominations, the record, that is a very good sign for this movie. I think La La Land is pretty set to take Best Picture. I think, if you're putting your money down, La La Land is probably a good place to put it. And the reason I think Damien Chazelle is going to take it is the movie is pure direction. What I find interesting about Damien Chazelle's current filmography is that they both of his well-known films, I think he has one more like indie that I haven't seen actually, show off his different strength. I think Whiplash shows off writing a little more, because some of those lines, I can't believe a person sat down at his laptop and wrote those, or wherever the hell he sat down and wrote those. That is astonishing to me. It's just amazingly written. And I think La La Land shows off more of his direction skills. And just look at the opening highway sequence. Just look at the Another Day of Sun. I mean, it's pure direction. And I think the Academy is going to reward him, like I said, for that breath of fresh air. Because it's what they're looking for. It's what they need. It's what they want to have. And I think this is a good time to have that. And I do think the Academy will give La La Land director and picture. So, those are my 2017 Oscar winner predictions. I know some of them are a little unorthodox. I cheated on one. Sorry. Maybe as time gets closer, I'll lean towards one or the other. I plan on making more videos similar, not exactly like this, but similar to this as to, how my predictions might have changed very soon. So, what did you think? Have you made your own Oscar predictions? Have you not made your own Oscar predictions? Do you agree with mine? Do you disagree with mine? Let me know in the comments below. I have very much enjoyed making this content. I can't wait to keep going. Thank you all for the unwavering support. It has been amazing. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.